Hello again, everyone. This is Joe Henches with Beyond the Chart, and this is technical analysis of the stock market today. Today is Wednesday, May 27th. We're going to take a look at the stock market action of the last 2 days, and then we're going to look at our indicators. We're going to look at three of the Chinese indices tonight: the Shanghai Composite, the Hang Seng, and the Shenzhen. And then we're going to look at the top 5 volume leaders that were over $20 a share that are Chinese ADRs. So the number one today was VIPS, then YOKU, Alibaba, JMEI, and I'm not pronouncing that correctly, I'm sure, and then CTRP. All right, let's start off here with the Dow Industrials. The Dow was up 121 points today after being down, what was it, 100 and something yesterday, 170 something. I know it was over 200 at one point when it was all the way down here. So we got the bounce back. The interesting thing that I'm seeing, and actually it's a little more evident on the S&P 500, we can't seem to get on the downside. This made me, the thought I had today is that I'm going to call this my post, ping pong, because I feel like we get a couple of days down and then we bounce back. We're not getting any more than, say, 2 days, down days in a row, and then we get an up day. And it just seems to be happening in the last 2 months, since this 4-day stretch right here in March. There have been 6 times, counting this week, where we've had 2 down days in a row, and then we got a bounce. Then we got an up day or a couple of up days, and we just seem to be getting that erratic kind of behavior, and it just made me, think of ping pong actually. So this up here on the S&P 500 up 19 after being down 25 or something yesterday. Well, what was the number? Say from 2126 closed 2104, so 22 points. And then we're back up 19 today. So almost the entire recovery, not quite. But again, here's the point I'm making. Here's two down days and an up day. Here's 2 down days and an up day. Now here we had 3, actually, marginally 3. 2 down days, 2 up days, 2 down days in a row, 2 up days, 2 down days in a row, then you get an up, then a down, and then, so we're doing 2 down days in a row here, and then you get an up day. So it just feels like we're just bouncing around in here, and not really trending in any direction as far as I could tell yet. Now the NASDAQ closed at a new, I don't know, and I didn't check whether this is a new all-time high or not. 5106.59 on a daily close. Let's find out. So let me zoom in over here. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's well above the peak. And, I was a little bit out of touch here on this in terms of going back on the historical. Let me get this back in scale. Let me zoom back in again. We're still down below this wedge, but I got to tell you, since it broke down out of this wedge, it looks like it did, hanging up this long up here is making me think that something else is happening, something else is going on. We could be morphing into some kind of sideways top unless we push above this point dramatically and do something different. So I'm a little skeptical of this holding out, just kind of like the way we did on the Russell 2000. New York Composite, similar thing. We got a bounce back. Now, it wasn't nearly to the degree of recovery that the S&P 500 shows. Okay, so now you got 2 closes below the 10 here, and we're still in this congestion pattern here on the New York Composite. Russell 2000, nice big day. Again, the strongest looks like the recovery of up 15.6 of all 5 indices because of the fact that it got way up above yesterday's trading and actually closed above the close on Monday, 1252. Yep, just slightly above that close. Still down for the week, but slightly up from Monday's close. Still got this little neckline, trend line type thing in here, looking to see if this thing rolls over or not. I want to go to the indicators first before I go to the Chinese indices. All right, short-term trading index. It's the 10-day is 1.178, so right in the middle in here. It got a pretty extreme reading yesterday, naturally, on the big down move, and then here we are at the opposite end of the spectrum with the reading of 0.84 today. And so where does that leave us on the 10-day? Smack dab in the middle. And the VIX, it always knows where I want to go. So the VIX collapsed back down naturally with the up move today. But it's still, a lot higher in here than where it's been trading. So I find that kind of interesting. We'll see what happens next couple of days. The high-low index, we had dropped down yesterday and then pulled back up slightly. So we had 19 more new highs than new lows with the move today. So nothing super. I mean, just 19 more new highs than new lows. All right, let's dive in and take a look at the Shanghai, which we have been looking at. Now, when I pulled this out, this line here was, this isn't something I put in. This is what I had in the last video. So what it's doing is it's coming up and approaching my target for wave 3 based on the fact that I think we had 1, 2, 3, 4, and that we're doing a 5. Now, it doesn't look like we've got 5 waves within this 5th wave. So here's what I'm going to do. Let's just so you understand what I'm talking about. I'm talking about 1 and 2. I got my keyboard moved off to the side. And 3. Oh, that's good. And 4. Okay, and then what I'm expecting, since this is a fairly clear little wave in here, this looks like a minute wave 1, 2, 3 of 5. And so I'm kind of expecting a little bit of a 4th wave, another 5th wave. So that would mean that maybe this is really going to push beyond this target here. So we'll see what happens, but it's looking pretty interesting. Now, the Hang Seng Index is something we hadn't looked at in a while. This is Hong Kong's index. It's been around for quite a while. I'm not sure. I haven't done the history on it, but it's been a long, long time. And so here's a recent low back in December, and you can see how it's been pushing. And if you look at it, you can see it has not taken out the high from 2007. And if we go back to the Shanghai, and look at all the trading on the Shanghai, it has not taken out the high from 2007, although it's in almost a straight up mode since July of last year. So, I mean, it's like a rocket ship taking off right here. I mean, look at this, okay? But if you're impressed by that, take a look at Shenzhen. So the Shenzhen Composite is just amazing. I mean, in a little over 2-year time frame, it's up over 4 times. And you look at the entire trading, it is way above 2007. So, you sit here and draw a trend line, and it clearly, broke well above that. And when it did, it just, again, exploded like a rocket on this. So I find this kind of interesting. I haven't done a wave count on it, but it definitely looks like some kind of extended, like wave 3 wave of some kind. And we'll just have to take a look. I'm not sure. Again, let's see what's volume. Wow, I mean, you can see how the volume is this has just been ramping up naturally as it starts to catch on and catch on fire in here. The curious thing. So you're like, okay, well, where's Shenzhen? All right, so here's Hong Kong. Here's Macau, where all the gambling is and entertainment and everything, the gambling zone. And here's Shenzhen, just north of Hong Kong, which is not very far away in here. And you say, well, where's Shanghai? So if we zoom back out of this and you go back up, Shanghai is up the coast, quite a ways, north, up here, and there it is. Okay, so now, more than halfway up, actually. And in relationship to where is Beijing? And of course, here's Japan, South Korea, and here's Beijing all the way up here in terms of the capital far north. So I thought that would be interesting. We take a look at this just to kind of put in perspective, you know, the stock markets that we're talking about over here in China. Okay, so now let's jump in and take a look at the ones that are trading here in the United States. Let's take a look at VIPs. VIP Shop Holdings is the first one. All right, so this definitely came down out of this rising wedge, ending diagonal. And remember, I talked about closing this gap, and it came pretty doggone close to doing it intraday on the 21st, which was last Thursday. And actually, when you look at that, the low, real close, 22.7, and the high on this day, 22.27. So it got within a half a point of closing that gap. So the real test here is going to be, is that all it's going to do? It came right off the 233-day moving average, okay? And it bounced back up, and we'll see whether or not that's enough or whether it's going to come down and do more. Now, it hasn't come all the way to the bottom of the wedge, which would be more like down here around 21. So we'll see. I'll take a look at the, that's the demand index, DI. I mean, we're not getting divergence on the move. And if I zoom in at RSI, yeah, I got a little bit of divergence, but it was not in the oversold area. So we'll see. Right now, it's in a short-term trend down, but again, the long-term trend is still up. So we'll see what if it has enough momentum to the downside to keep moving down. The next one is YOKU To-Do, which has been taking off like a rocket. It's catching on to what's going on over there in the Chinese stock markets. So this thing has come, I mean, look at this, from down here in the 12 to 13 all the way up to 30, 31, and we're talking about in a month and a half. So based on the fact that the volume is back up over 2 million a share, because it took, I'm looking at my numbers, seemed like it broke down. I'm going to get back, and actually the fact that it got below 20, that's when I stopped watching this on a close basis. But the fact that it's back above 20 and the 50-day moving average of the volume is 4.7 million shares, so I like that. You know, liquid above 20. So I'm going to start following this a lot closer. Let me get back to, well, let me just do this and zoom back out of this. Take a look. That trend line, what is that trend? Okay, that trend line is this right here. So it started to break it, but it looks like it's getting a little bit of resistance at that trend line. And this little candlestick formation, now I'm not a candlestick guru by any means, but this looks like harami type of formation with the big wide bar, white bar here, open bar, and then this small tiny body in here inside of it. So we'll see. Harami in Japanese means pregnant, I believe. And so that's where that came from. And we'll see if this comes down again. I mean, that's not enough. Given this momentum and the way this thing is tracking, I wouldn't be, buying puts in here, betting against this move right now. Just wait to see what it does and see if it pulls back and sets up for another upside move. All right, the next one is Alibaba Group. All right, so Alibaba's pulled out of this congestion down here, and I was kind of tentative on this, and then now it's got this couple of day, it made a nice 3-day move here. It's pulled back. It seems like it's tracking. It's up into the gap. Okay, here's the gap. Here's the top of the gap right at the low is 97.79. So we'll see if we get up here and close that. I got a feeling it probably will. Volume's dropped off, but that's in this little consolidation area right here. We're not seeing any negative divergence on the RSI, not seeing it on the demand index, and not seeing it here on DI+. So right now it looks like it's tracking. It's above the 10. 10's above the 21, above the 55. It looks like it wants to continue to push higher. It's broken this trend line, broken out of that downward trend, and it could be trying to make a run here. And the next one is JMEI, and I'm not pronouncing that, I know. JMEI, something like that, International Holding. All right, this one also is kind of interesting. So it broke this trend line. This is all the trading. So it broke this trend line and it ran up. Now this is another one, had been below 20 quite a bit, and now it's barely above 20 at 22. The 50-day average volume now is at 2.6 million. I had this dotted line in here and I extended it over into here. So this support that got broken pretty dramatically here on a gap became resistance that it fought its way through. You know, see, look at all the congestion and trading going on in that resistance zone. Then it breaks on up out of there, gets this collapse that happened on on Friday, Monday, okay, sell-off, and collapsed right back down to that zone. And now today it bounced off of there. Now the real test is going to be, is this getting support or not? It's back in. This looks like 5 waves up to me. And if this is the low point, I'm counting, 1, 2, strong 3, 4, 5. You can see the little 5 wave action right here in the 5th wave. And so here's the first pullback, and the real test is going to be, does it hold here or not? So that's what I think is going on. This is going to be interesting to watch, I think, because there's getting some nice volume in there. And then the last one we're going to take a look at tonight is CTRP. And man, CTRP is in a really strong, I think, third primary wave up. Let me zoom out of this. I'm counting this. This is all the way back to 2003. I'm counting this as a first impulse wave. And you might think this would be 2, but then you start to say, well, this is 3, but then 4 can't overlap 1. So then, you starts to get messy. And to me, the simplest way for me to count this is to think that this is part of a kind of a complex correction, A, B, C, flat. And that's my initial assessment of it. So really where I'm taking this now, if we go from this low point right here, August 2012, I think we had a first primary wave up here. So like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th wave. Got an ABC correction that came right back down into that 4th wave zone. So I'm counting that number 2. And so therefore, we're in a 3rd primary wave up, and it's acting like a 3rd primary. And look at the gaps, okay? I mean, look at the gaps. Look at the straight line action in this thing. Huge breakaway gap down here on huge volume. That's classic. So, it's just, that was the rocket launch right here, and now it's just trending and it's trending and it's trending. Now, I'm not getting divergence, but it is really, really overbought. Now, but I'm not getting divergence, but again, super strong overbought can just stay that way for quite a while. But some of these readings are really, really high, like on demand, DI plus, and demand index up here, really, up above 50. But anyway, I mean, this is beautiful. If you're in it, congratulations. I would not, I'm not seeing anything that's going to cause me to jump in right now and participate in this, but I'd be looking for some way to, see if there's a way to set up to go on this. And I need to really look at the wave count in this 3rd wave more. I think I stopped watching CTRP closely from an option trading standpoint. When I was trading this last year, the liquidity on the options was really, really poor. I mean, I was finding, $40, $50 spreads between bid and ask, and I was just like, okay, I'm going somewhere else. And that's why I stopped watching it. But this is really, really interesting stock, and so we'll continue to track it on a regular basis. All right, that's it for tonight. Let's see, today is Wednesday. I'll be back on Saturday with the weekend update. So again, if you're watching this anywhere but my website, head on over there, check out the posts, and if you're not a subscriber, subscribe. Gives you access to the Trade Ideas webpage and the free PDF I've got for you, the 5 essentials. And so until next time, stay focused, follow your plan, and trade without fear. Have a great Thursday, Friday, everyone.